Well, Patriots fans, hello out there. It's time for another edition, a regular season finale edition of the Patriot Baseball Weekly Show. This man to my right is Inabinet, the head coach of Francis Marion. My name is Armand Broady. We thank you again for joining us. Now, I must confess that there is a bit of dissension in the atmosphere here because Art is upset that I wore a suit and a tie. What are your thoughts about this? Let's clear the air right now, sir.
Well, if we have one more of these interviews before the season's over, I will be sure to match your attire next time and wear a coat and tie myself.
When is the last time you wore a coat and a tie?
Wow, that's a good question. Probably either to the banquet or a wedding or church or something like that.
So if I give you an option, I say just one day, coat, tie, a golf shirt or T-shirt, jeans. What's your preference there?
I'm going to go with a coat and tie because you outdid me today on your attire again. So the next time we meet, I've got to outdo you or at least match you.
Okay, so now is there any player on the team that's coat and tie kind of a guy at all?
If there is, I hadn't seen that guy yet.
Really?
Haven't seen that guy yet, but I'm thinking about proposing to the guys when we go to the conference tournament, not this weekend but next, about let's going all together up in there with a coat and tie.
Have I inspired you?
Yes, you have.
I am so glad. I feel like now my life's work here at Francis Marion is complete. I have inspired you, sir.
You have inspired me, Armand. It's been a good experience working with you, my friend.
Likewise, likewise. Now, let's go back to Matt Kelley, his dominant performance at 15 strikeouts against Georgia Southwestern. As you're watching him on the mound, what thoughts penetrate your mind?
Well, I'm just glad that we have him for another year pending he doesn't get picked up in the draft. He's been a good one for us. He's been real solid, and he's been consistent, and he's given us a chance to win game one about every single time he's been out there. And that's all you can ask for. And just he's been competitive. He's been a bulldog all year.
Obviously, we've had some bullpen difficulties. I'll use it that way. So how much of a struggle or a hassle has it been for you to try and manage his performances on the mound while also realizing that you do need him to work as much as he possibly can?
Absolutely. That's always a concern. You know, his pitch count got up this weekend, and it became decision time. And my pitching coach, Stephen Dill, and myself were talking to Matt back and forth about how he felt. We didn't want to overdo it. I think he wound up throwing 140 pitches, which is a lot of pitches for pitchers this day and time. But he wanted to finish it, and we gave him the opportunity to do that.
Let's go back to the North Georgia games. Now, we're going back a little bit, but it's been a while since we spoke, so let's capture that as well. How important was it for you guys to get one of those wins against North Georgia?
Well, I think anytime you can prevent getting swept throughout the season is quite an accomplishment, and that's what we did this year. We didn't win as many series as we wanted to or as we needed to, but we beat everybody that we played at least once, and you know, that gives us some confidence going into the conference tournament. The best 8 teams in the conference will be there, and we beat every single one of them at least once, everybody that we've played anyway. So we look forward to the challenge ahead of us.
Where has Daniel Barfield improved on the mound this year?
His strike percentage. He's thrown more strikes. His changeup has come back in the last, I'd say, 4 to 6 weeks. His breaking ball's usually there for him. And, you know, his competitiveness is getting better, and he went 7 strong innings. 7 1/3 strong innings against Southwestern, and we're going to need him if we win game one to beat whoever that second matchup is in the conference tournament.
Matt Rubino, I mean, we've documented this and we've discussed this throughout the year, but what is the significance of his reliability at the plate for you guys?
Well, he and JD both are about as solid as you can get in the 3-4 hole, and he's just consistent. He puts the ball in play on a consistent basis, and you know, sometimes hitting is about just putting the ball in play and giving your team a chance to have some success by moving a runner up or getting a runner in from third with less than 2 outs. And he's been real cognizant of that all year, and he's done a great job leading this team, especially on the offensive side.
What have you observed from Ryan Miller? He's played some time at first base and the DH spot as well. What have you seen from Mr. Miller?
Ryan's very athletic. He made a play at Georgia Southwestern that was down that right field line, down in the bullpen area, and laid out and made a catch and showed his athleticism. He made a couple plays on defense in that series. And he got a big hit in Game 3 for us that we desperately needed to bust that game wide open. And he's been consistent at the plate. He struggled a little bit lately, but we still think he's got a chance to be a all-conference type player in the future.
You have talked about this, getting the three phases of the game, working in everything coming together. We've talked about it much throughout the season. Where do you feel your team stands now with your offense and your pitching and your defense?
Well, our last game that we played this past weekend, our last conference game, we were really good in all three phases of the game. We pitched really well. I don't think we walked but 2, hit 1, and we didn't make an error. We played errorless baseball, and I'm always happy when we do that. And then we scored 8 runs with, I think, 11 or 12 hits. And that gives us some hope going into the conference tournament that these guys can do it. They can play good baseball, and, that's our expectation for the conference, and that's what we're going to have to do to win the thing.
How much of what you guys need to do going forward now, how much is mental?
I think 90% of it's mental. I think there's only about 10% that's actually physical, and our guys, confidence-wise, we've continued moving some guys around, especially on the infield. We feel pretty comfortable with where we have everybody right now in the infield, and hopefully it'll carry over into as we go into our game with Mount Olive next week and then on into the conference tournament.
Is there anything that you say as a coach that's been with this team all year, is there anything that you say to this team going forward to motivate them or inspire them? Or at this point, is it we are who we are, so let's do what we know that we need to do?
Well, I keep telling them all the time 2 things. 1, we need to play together, and 2, we need to continue to have fun. And I think if you can do those 2 things, no matter how much adversity that you hit, I think you got a chance to end the season on a positive note.
Looking forward to conference play now, what are your thoughts on the overall depth and the talent in the Peach Belt?
It's pretty good. I was looking yesterday. I don't think we finished but 2 games out of 2nd place or 3rd place or something like that. And that's really how tight the standings are. And, it's a good league with the exception of North Georgia. Everybody's actually pretty tight in there. And, it's been competitive all season, and I'm sure the Peach Belt Conference Tournament will continue to be the same.
What extra confidence does knowing, as you mentioned earlier, that you've beaten some of the best teams? You've beaten Armstrong, you've beaten North Georgia this year, you've beaten Flagler. What confidence does that give you guys going forward that, we can compete and we can beat the best teams or the so-called best teams in the league?
Well, we've been in a situation all year to win several other series. We just, for whatever reason, we didn't close the game out. And it has put us in the situation that we are now in the 7 or possibly the 8 hole. Hopefully we can learn from what's happened earlier defensively and in the bullpen, and we can continue to get better, and hopefully some things will fall our way. And, we're due for something good to happen to us.
What has Broady Santak meant for you guys now coming out of the bullpen with his relief work this year?
Well, he's been solid for us. The last 2 weekends, he's helped us win baseball games against North Georgia and against Southwestern. I don't know if we would have won those 2 games if we wouldn't have had him in those particular roles. He's been a consistent for us all year.
And we'll close this interview with this question right here. As you look at this team overall, and you look at what you guys have been able to accomplish this year, just the season as a whole, what words come to your mind about what the identity of this team is?
Inconsistent. There have been days that we've played really good baseball, and there are days that we don't play very good baseball. Days that we play well, especially on the pitching and defense side, we give ourselves a chance to win every single time. Offensively, we've been pretty good all year. We just need to shore up the bullpen as we move on continuous through the season and make sure that we make routine defensive plays. And I think we'll have a chance to do something special in the tournament.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much for the entire year, Armand.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute thrill. And next time he has promised to wear a suit, a coat, and a tie. We will see if he holds true to those words. If he does not, I will let you know at some point in time. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Patriot Baseball Weekly. My name is Armand Broady. This is Francis Marion head coach Inabinet, and we thank you for watching.